Preserving red onions this way, even after a year, they will remain dry, firm, not wilted, not rotten, and will not sprout roots. When used, the onions will retain their beautiful color and distinct aroma, just like when they were first purchased. The best part is that the method is incredibly simple. Anyone can apply it at home. Hello, it's great to see you again on the Clever Tricks channel. Today, I'll be sharing some extremely effective tips for preserving red onions, helping you use them year-round without worrying about mold or spoilage. If you often buy red onions and don't use them all at once, then don't miss this video. In today's video, I'll show you 3 different ways to preserve red onions. Each method is easy to do and effective. Just choose the one that suits you best. I have created subtitles in multiple languages. Please select your preferred language. Comment below and let me know which country you are watching from. It's amazing that we can connect from all around the world. The first method is very simple and anyone can do it. Do onions get soft and moldy after a few days? Just one familiar ingredient in the kitchen. Dried onions last much longer. The ingredients are easy to find. Every household has them. First, when preparing onions, they must be completely dry. Do not wash them before storing. Place 1 to 2 teaspoons of baking soda at the bottom of the jar to absorb moisture, remembering to line it with paper towels so the baking soda doesn't come into direct contact with the onions. If you don't have baking soda, you can use a desiccant packet instead. Arrange the onions loosely, don't pack them tightly so they can breathe. Keep the lid closed, but open it once or twice a week. And store the jar in a cool, dry place, away from sunlight. If done correctly, the onions can dry nicely for 3 to 5 weeks, with less odor and significantly less spoilage. After trying to preserve whole onions in a glass jar with baking soda, I found this method very simple but remarkably effective. The onions last longer, stay dry, are less likely to become soft or moldy, and it significantly reduces the pungent smell in the kitchen. I consider this an easy, economical, and suitable preservation method for small families, especially when specialized desiccant bags are unavailable. Next, separate all the shallots from the bunch to check if any are moldy. If you find any moldy bulbs, discard them immediately because we want to preserve the shallots for long-term use, and mold must not be allowed to mix with them. If one moldy bulb is left with the others, the rest will also become moldy. After draining, peel the onions. Cut off the top and bottom parts like this. We'll cut off the roots here. For this young root section, cut a little deeper, about 1 to 2 centimeters above the root. Do not cut right down to the base of the root. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. After peeling all the onions, rinse them thoroughly with plain water once. Next, add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 teaspoons of salt. Baking soda will help inhibit root growth in red onions because it is slightly alkaline, and it also helps absorb excess moisture, the cause of root growth or mold. Salt also helps slow down root growth in onions. Therefore, we will use both in combination. Add baking soda and salt and mix dry first. Don't add water yet. Mix well for about 1 minute until the 2 ingredients are completely combined. Next, add enough water to completely submerge the onions. and soak for about 10 minutes. After enough time has passed, rinse with clean water 2 to 3 times. As you can see, the water will turn a light yellow color after 10 minutes of soaking. Look at the spot I'm pointing to. The water will be slightly yellowish. After soaking in baking soda and salt, rinse thoroughly and let dry. Pour the onions into a tray. Use paper towels to pat dry. Even after blotting with paper towels, the inside of the onion may still retain moisture, and sometimes water can still seep in. Therefore, place the onions in a tray and dry them in the sun for about 1 day or 2 days if possible until they are completely dry. Once the onions are completely dry, we will put them in a plastic container. Place 2 to 3 layers of paper towels at the bottom of the box first. Add all the red onions. Paper towels will help absorb any remaining moisture when we store items in the refrigerator. After adding all the onions, cover them with 2 more layers of paper towels. Then, store it in the refrigerator. This method helps us preserve red onions for months, and the roots won't grow back. Next is the third method. After the onions have been completely dried, divide them into portions and put them in Ziploc bags. Divide the onions into larger portions depending on how much your family uses and how little you use. First, expel all the air from the bag, then zip the bag shut. The bag is now sealed. This method is excellent for preserving red onions. They won't grow roots, rot, or mold, and can be stored for many months. The fourth method is even simpler. This method helps preserve onions for a whole year, so long that you'll forget about them. Take the washed and dried onions, then chop or slice them into the size you usually use when cooking. Next, divide the chopped onions into glass jars. Divide according to the amount needed for each cooking session. Once divided, place the jars of onions in the freezer. This fourth method helps preserve red onions for a whole year, keeping them fresh for a very long time. I often do it this way. When using, just take it out, let it thaw a little, then cook it right away. The shallots still smell very fragrant and distinct without losing their aroma. How is everyone doing with the methods of preserving shallots for long-term use that I shared today? Alternatively, you can also preserve onions for longer using this method. First, peel off the dry outer layer. It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Rinse quickly under running water. Do not soak onions for too long, as they will absorb water and will not be crispy when fried. After slicing the onions, I let them air dry completely. This step is very important. The drier the onions, the crispier they will be when fried and the less oil will splatter. I add the onions to the pan while the oil is still cold. Small lighter. Fry until the onion is slightly translucent, not yet golden. Turn off the stove immediately. Do not fry until golden brown. Otherwise, the oil will become bitter and the onions will be tough. Strain the onions and oil through a sieve. Let it cool completely. Place in a glass jar. Put the onions in the jar first. Pour enough oil to completely cover the onions. Do not let the onions float on the oil. The onions must be completely submerged in oil to prevent mold. Seal tightly and store in the refrigerator, best before 1 to 2 months. This method, convenient, long-lasting fragrance, less waste, perfect for busy families who prefer to prepare and use things in advance. Hopefully, this little tip will help you make a jar of crispy fried onions to enjoy. If you find it useful, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Which method do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Or, if you're already using a particular method, please share it so everyone can learn. If you found this video helpful and useful, don't forget to share it with your loved ones so everyone can learn how to preserve red onions for longer. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more great tips. Goodbye for today. See you in the next video.